exciting.
It is exciting. Hi, and we are live. This is Melinda Kunst from Hope When There Was None with my beautiful guest, Lori Beard. She's here today to share information about hypnosis and using that to help heal inner child wounds, perhaps something else. There's just and I was blown away at how many things that you use or people can use in order to get healing, and also from other things too. So again, I commented to you jokingly that, okay, you're not going to make me cluck like a chicken.
If you want to.
Kind of took a little bit of the unknown away from me by sharing in our pre-interview before this. So I'm going to let you take it away if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody exactly what you do.
Wow, this is like I'm like making sure to share this in my share the streaming in my page. But thank you so much for having me. I just love that you are so easygoing, Melinda, and so graceful and gracious. And yes, what I do is kind of complicated. No, but how I sum it up is like this: I see people's greatness, or I see your greatness, and help you discover it for yourself. So basically, and then some people is like, how do you life coach, and how do you do clinical hypnosis? And I'm like, hey, one of my clients said, you're my mind coach. Ooh. So basically, that's what I do. Some people call it, yes, you're like a mind coach. And what happens is that people struggle in their life with time management or life management. So that's where life coaching comes in. Help you be that help. I'm the facilitator or the mentor or the person you can be accountable to get your life in order. And that includes your profession. If you're not in your field and industry, I mean, so many people are not happy with what they do in their lives just because of that paycheck, which is super important. But then they suppress the other gifts and talents where they can profit from them too. And then they settle for that life. And then they show that anger or that resentment or that discontent in their daily lives, working in something that they are not 100% fully passionate about. And then time management, relationships, and also because we're programmed in a way that many times manifests in self-sabotaging, damaging our self-confidence to be courageous enough and take those risks or ask for that raise at work and all that. That's when clinical hypnosis comes in, because it works with that subconscious level, at a subconscious level with your mind and your programming. If we had influences, voices of authority telling us we can't do it, we're dumb, or you're not enough, or you're not capable, that's what's imprinted in us. And that's where working with the subconscious mind with clinical hypnosis comes in. How is that?
That's good. And you're not swinging a pendulum, because you can do this virtually. So you're not swinging a pendulum. You see the old cliche, somebody's got a watch or something up in front of you. How exactly do you connect then?
Great question. And I love it because so many people don't dare to ask it. And it's just funny because my son's like a fan right now. You know how you're not a prophet in your own land is what they say, right? So my children's like, Mom, what is it that you do again? And I have 8 kids, and some have allowed me to do it, and some like, Mom, no, thank you. And now my son is watching a series that had the main character. It's a hypnotist, and he's learning a lot. And I'm like, okay. So I appreciate you asking, because also I said there's many schools of learning, right? Different techniques. The school where I came from basically doesn't allow me to touch, right? And it's not like doesn't allow me, but it discourage us from touching or tapping or whatever it is. Or pendulum is also not necessarily, even though it might be a technique that might help others, right? That decide to go with those techniques. But what happens is that I allow and I facilitate a peaceful environment for that individual, right? And to relax teaching basic breathing techniques, like I just learn how to consciously inhale deeply and exhale slowly, right?
Right.
And I start with my voice. There's the hypnotic voice, right? That I needed to learn, to help them get to a place where they feel peace, and then go through a script or a story that works with a metaphor that allows them to release, remove, resolve, or reframe
Ooh.
those emotions that they have that are connected to some experiences in their life. So when you disconnect yourself from those traumas or from those negative memories or from that label, right? You're dumb, you're foolish, you're so clumsy, and things like that. When you disconnect those emotions, then that's when you're allowing yourself to reprogram and to see your greatness and to move forward.
Oh, I love that. I do love that. Well, let me ask then, because sometimes you will see people, oh, I can't be hypnotized. I can't do this. Is there people like that, or is this something that happens?
I love it. Do you have a script? Because these questions are amazing. I know they're coming, authentically, but it's just so awesome. It's just flowing so well. So yeah, you're good. You're good. So yes, there are people with diagnosed mental health conditions that, yes, it's probably very difficult or impossible to hypnotize. That's the lowest of percentage of people and humans out there. But like I say, it's not mind control. Tell me if I'm saying this right. Voluntarily.
Okay.
So
Yes.
you have to volunteer and say, I want this. I will give myself, I'm number one, I'm determined to deal with this issue. I'm determined to believe that this is going to work because I am open to receive this methodology, this practice. But let me warn people that are watching, even if you're skeptical, it works. So, being open to receive really helps and makes it easier.
Mhm.
And Melinda, to answer, when the person let go of wanting to control
Okay.
is when it just gets better and the possibilities are immense. Because if you're used to controlling everything and micromanage and control your thoughts and control what is it that's happening, and you don't let go of that, it's going to be hard, right?
Right.
So there's the creative people, that one side of the brain, it's more active. There's the more logical person, and I assess that before to see which is the best style or the best way you will respond to it. But let me warn you, it's not like overnight it's going to happen for you. It's a process. And the more you go through the experience, the easier it would get to let go and to just be open to receive and to allow ego or consciousness to rest, to have the subconscious mind to wake up and be active and be the one sorting things out.
Now, should you also be doing other internal work while you're doing this other healing work to help kind of like make it more solidified, to help with this process too?
Let me see if I understand well. Like simultaneously
Or
as
like,
the session's going, or like in
afterwards, like, should you be journaling? Should you be doing
yes.
some kind of affirmations or talking with a therapist, counselor too?
Absolutely. So if typically my clients that decide to come to me are not wanting talking therapy or have done years of that and they got to a plateau and they're looking for something different.
Mm-hmm.
And to answer that, and then yes, I have also had clients that are looking into or are already in treatment with a counselor, and that's great. And if it works parallel, some people cannot afford both, and that's understandable. But yes, the pre-interview, the free discovery call that I have available for anyone that wants to discover more how to work together and how my programs work, I tell them that I am looking for someone that's willing to do the work that it takes for change. And that involves writing. I don't know if to call it journaling. Some people just turn off when they hear the word journaling.
You do, right.
If you want to call it writing, I had somebody that didn't like journaling, but when an issue was really triggering and was coming to the surface, because no matter how we compartmentalize or we suppress, it's always there. If you haven't dealt with it, it's going to come to the surface and manifest one way or another.
Ooh.
Well, something was happening, and at the beginning of the intake interview, she was like, no, this hasn't happened. And I kind of intuitive felt like that had happened in her life. And it wasn't in her list. Like, I brought a list of all my issues. And then she thought. And at the end, when I asked, hey, how about this issue? Has it ever happened to you? And she said, no. And as it turned out, oh my goodness, when we were deep and working more and more in it, and as sessions went by, this was definitely an issue. Mm-hmm. And she started typing, I don't want to say journaling or writing about it, but she wasn't able to express it, to articulate what is it that was happening, what was happening to her. So she started typing and it flowed. I don't care if it's typing, if it's better if it's handwritten. Right. There's studies that show how that helps with the flow and the connection with your brain, etc. But the way the world is, with devices and all that, maybe there's going to be new studies that find that it more or less causes the same thing to release emotions when you're typing. But it was so healing for her. So to answer that question, yes, there's a lot that you have to do, habit changes, conscious habits changes that really contribute and enhance the experience.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's a lot. That is a lot. But, in order to break free from a lot of these things that are holding us back, that's so important. That really is. Wow. Now, how long do your sessions last?
I always say 60 to 90 minutes. I don't want to rush things. And there's some things that there's a flow to a hypnosis session, especially because the life coaching part of it is when we are having that talking moment or some minutes of a conversation, deciding what's the issue at stake, what is the emotion that's happening, what's weighing heavy, to decide what is this script going to be about, or what is the issue that needs to be resolved, reframed, removed, or released. We need to decide, make those decisions together, me as a facilitator, because the person always knows. And so 60 minutes ideally, and 90 to me is the perfect amount of time. I know I offer some mini sessions. They're available too. They're more targeted. For example, if somebody wants to pass a test and they have some test, they get phobia, on taking tests, or they have taken it many, many times, and they're like, this time I want to pass it. There's a very concrete goal that the person wants in a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. So yes, those can be mini sessions. Let's just get to this, etc. But because we're all like an onion, there's layers and layers and yet layers of issues and complexity to our life, our traumas, our experiences from the past, and our emotions. I have the long-term program, which is kind of like 12 weeks with those sessions of 90 minutes to really be very thorough and be done with that past and move forward in life.
Now, let me ask, going back to the chicken thing, and I'm sorry, I'm harping on the chicken thing.
You can also bark like a dog.
Yeah. Well, that brings to mind, because I know it's silly, and since I don't know, I haven't been hypnotized. So what I've seen, like in movies, they have somebody, they say the word like chocolate, and then all of a sudden they cluck, or every time they hear a bell ring, then they're in that hypnotic state. Is that something that happens? Is that real, or is that just silly?
It can, for a period of time. Repetition is important, and repetition, I hear that it's the mother of mastery. Yes. And yes, so it works for us. I don't want to say it, but for people to understand, it kind of wears off. But in a critical situation, when something needs to happen, like that test taking, it's like, no, you're going to hear this or you're going to blink and you're going to be fine, or hyperventilate and just answer the questions. Or somebody that has fear of water and drowning, her life circumstances was going to force her basically to live in a boat, live in a boathouse. What is it that is called? Like a boat that's a home that is on a lake.
It's a houseboat.
A houseboat. Yeah, thank you. So at a certain, for a period of time, her circumstances were going to have her live there. That was just what life brought to the person. And he's like, I need to solve this because I have phobia. So yes, some things can be anchored in to the mind so that the person can respond better to a specific situation. People that need to travel for their work and don't like heights, things like that. Yes, that's definitely something that happens and it's effective.
Oh, that's awesome, because I know there's several people that are still trapped in toxic relationships with maybe an intimate partner or a parent family member. So is that something that they can benefit from having hypnosis? Do they get like courage or something? Not having liquid courage, but how does that work? I guess.
I love how you mentioned that, because you basically mentioned a circumstance or a situation where all this negativity was anchored.
Right.
Maybe if somebody was whipped with a belt, that maybe now they can't see a belt, or the context of a belt just freaks them out. It's because that was anchored into something for them to fear or that inflicts pain. So if that makes sense, that was anchored in a negative way. So you can shift that to for a more positive outcome.
Okay.
Someone that was in the middle of the hypnosis session, she was smelling roses, seeing roses, and fortunately, it was positive for her. She said, "Oh, I love it, and I can even smell the roses and see the roses." And as it turned out, when she came back from the trance and all that, and she was able to explain it to me. Because remember, one thing though, don't freak out when I say the word trance. One thing is you are always in control. Okay. You're always awake and conscious. If something's happening or being said that you don't like, it goes against your values, etc., you are definitely alert, and you can say, let's stop this right now. Oh no, I'm just trying to panic. It's called an abreaction. Some people in my office, and guys, this is like purging. So do not be scared. It's all normal. And this person basically started coughing to the point of needing to spit because the emotions are stored in our body, and our bellies store a lot of negativity there. That's why you say, oh, there's a knot in my stomach, or there's a knot in my throat, especially when somebody feels that they cannot express themselves. You say there's a lump or a knot on my throat or a lump on my stomach. It's because that's where we store those negative experiences. So yeah, we release them when you are in a state of relaxation that is kind of subconscious, but you're still alert and aware. And I don't know if I went off and I answered the last question you asked.
Oh, you did.
So basically is, the same way as we anchored, or negative things are anchored in our brains, we can switch that and anchored for positivity and good things.
Oh, good. Because I know some people have, I can think of quite a few people off the top of my head, when the holidays roll around and they have to deal with that crazy uncle or that loudmouth aunt, or even their intimate partner, they get a feeling of dread and feel that lump in their throat or in the pit of their stomach. So that's good that there is some tools that they can take, like in their spiritual toolbox, they could take with them to go to that, and it could end up being a pleasant experience instead.
Or just go to the place and the physical, the wallpaper or something that just triggers something and blows them off. So this person associated the roses, and because the grandma loved roses, and she had a cover or a sheet comforter that had roses, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, she's like, the comforter. I used to love being on her bed, and that was one of my favorite comforters, and that's where the rose. I think that's where the rose came into my mind, because she was going in this process. I help the individuals go to a safe place and space. And when we were trying to accomplish that, right, that's where she went. She went to her grandma's room, and she basically lived it with her senses and everything. So it's our brains, our minds are mighty and powerful.
Yes, and I actually call that my happy place. I do that
Yeah.
myself. It's something I started doing many years ago, over a decade ago, going to my happy place when I had some sort of traumatic incident, or I was triggered, something. I went to my happy place. I
Yeah.
did, in order just to kind of escape and find something. So I didn't know that was a real thing. So that is a real thing.
It is. It is very well used. And other modalities call it a peaceful place.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you are right on target.
That is wonderful. That is good news to hear. That really is. And again, you've enlightened me so much that there's something else somebody can go ahead and attempt to use in order to get that healing. Now, you did mention sometimes it doesn't last. Is there like a refresher? So let's say you get through your messy divorce,
Yeah.
and then maybe you still have to have parenting time with your ex.
Mhm.
Is there still like a refresher? Is like a maintenance, like you need a tune up for this? I don't know if I'm making sense.
I love it. Tune up. Yes, yes. There's maintenance. It's like when we are chiropractic care, or the well child checkups for our children, or that yearly doctor check that we need to do to make sure we're okay, to check in and do that assessment. Life still happens. And when
Right.
we overcome those traumas from the past, life's still gonna happen. And a new person, you got a divorce, but then a
Mhm.
new person and a new relationship starts. And then some things from the past can creep up, or that partner can do something that kind of reminds you of what happened in the past, and you can be triggered. And then it's not that it wears off, but depending on your situation, how easy it was for you to let go and detach
Okay.
from those days, those emotions, those memories. Yeah, refreshers or tune-ups is always a good way to. But the brain or the mind processes things different for each individual, and with some, maybe they chose that partner, a toxic partner, and then their memories from toxicity and that relationship start from there. But what happens is they don't realize their parent or a guardian in the past was like this person, and you associated that new person with that past, or that void, or that need that this person needed to fulfill in your life, and you're seeking for that with this new person that will give you basically the same results at the or outcomes at the other person. So our minds are very complex, and depending on how attached you are, how deep or critical your situation of abuse or trauma or drama was, then you might need to, yes, a more longer term program with your practitioner, with me, um, and then move on and, yes, have a tune up. One example is somebody was super attached to their cigarettes.
Mhm.
They saw some x-rays he saw some x-rays, black, like, and that visual impacted
Mm.
this person, and about the state of his lungs, right?
Right.
But then they're like, okay, that's why I want to work with you. And I'm like, are you sure? And as it turned out, he was so emotionally, for so many complex reasons attached to this, that even though he got that little scared, moment of that visual, he was not completely ready to let go of
Mm.
the cigarettes, right?
Okay.
And I am that type of person that has to be your practitioner, that has to be your journey, your decision. Now, there's other hypnotherapists out there that say, if I can't fix you, you're not fixable, and only one session will do the magic. If you want that, they're out there. Try it. Look for them and find them. Good luck. But I think because our minds are so complex, this same onion, layers of, like I say the iceberg. What you come to me for is just the tip of the iceberg, but we're really going to deal with what's underneath that, all the layers and layers of other issues and things that maybe led you or drove you to that thing that you're complaining, or main symptom or behavior you're dealing with right now. But there's so much more underneath. And that's the type of hypnosis and life coaching that I do.
And that is really true, because it, like my own journey, it took me a long time to get where I'm at, but there was a lot of healing and I had to deal with a lot of crap. I had to uncover a lot of stuff, really and truly, that I didn't realize affected me. And even things that weren't related to my ex or my stepdad, there were still situations like from friends, grade school stuff, grade school teasing. And I didn't realize how much those even imprinted on me, or, a car accident, just random things. I didn't realize the degree and the level of healing that I needed in order to get to where I'm at right now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, our brain is remarkable. That really goes deep. It really does. Wow.
One thing is, by default, we go to those states, right, of being, because that's the only thing we know and that's what's familiar to us. And we're so afraid of the unknown that we don't dare to step out, or even subconsciously to step out of that. It's like, if I'm not a victim, if I'm not suffering, what else is out there? Because they haven't experienced it much. It's a new, scary place to be, or to go, or process, or bridge to cross to get there. People settle for that subconsciously. But sometimes our states of mind, it just validates us. Oh no, but I'm this. Oh no, but I was abused. Oh no, and it kind of becomes part of your identity, and that feeds our stories. And then that's what enriches our conversations with others. Look at what happened to me now. Look at what happened to me now. That's how people get attention or validation. So when the person really wants to step out of that is when magic happens. But it comes with, I call it, it's like a process of renovation. You know how when a mall or a store or a hotel says, "Pardon our progress,"
right?
It gets kind of messy before it gets beautiful or renovated. That's what happens when you work with me. It's a renovation process, and it's going to get kind of messy before it's going to get beautiful.
Oh, and you mention that about it being you're just so used to it. That life was normal for me, that jumping out of that abusive relationship, out of that toxic relationship, that was scary. Because I didn't know, okay, so where am I going to live? Am I going to get another guy that's a loser? I'm just safer here because I've got someone that provides for me and I already know what to expect. I just got to follow this rule and that rule. So that's why I stayed. And it made sense then. Looking back now, like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But I know that's just what my brain did. And so I can totally relate to that. I really can. And also identifying when I would meet people, I think I'd have to say for about 6-7 years afterwards, when I would meet people, I'd automatically say, "Oh, my name's Melinda. Oh, I'm an abuse survivor." I never said, "Well, I'm a mother," or, "Hey, how's your day?" It always followed with the other thing. So I definitely identified more with that title, kind of embraced all that drama rather than just to release it and just to let it go. There's so much more to me than that. That's the old Melinda. That girl. No, so I get that. I get that.
And that Melinda is part of what helped you be who you are now. Sometimes we don't have control of some things or these patterns. And when we do realize we do have control, then we wake up. But then there's so many lessons we can learn from the past. So if we use it as a point of reference to say, not there anymore, or this is why I did this, or this is what I was needing, it can be good. But then breaking off from the emotions that connected you from that past is important. Not to say that emotions are bad. It's just what connected. If you're in love with that person and it's toxic, love is a beautiful emotion to feel, but not in regards to this individual if they're being toxic, right? So emotions are not the problem. Is to acknowledge what emotions are happening, what emotions you're feeling, and then to make decisions upon, okay, so I need to set boundaries. I need to just step out of this for the better good or future.
And that's where your coaching comes in then too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Once that's done, also you can go ahead and coach people. Okay, this is what you do. This is the work you do after our session. So I can see where they go hand in hand.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And also you're an author. So tell me about your book.
Yes, the first couple of years that I was having clients and open my practice, I observed a pattern of behaviors and of what people kind of went through. And I took note, and I also, based on my own life experiences and my past, and I saw how to become a life coach or a clinical hypnosis practitioner, I needed to heal myself. And I kind of, in the process of learning all those skills and modalities, I became my first client. So what I was doing was healing myself. And that's obviously kind of the purpose, right, of the studies and all that. Right. So then I'm like, hey, I always wanted to be a writer or write something. And I signed up in a mentorship program where they're like, think big. Think, what is it that you think it's impossible? Not me. I cannot do that. And to me, that one thing at that time, there is more now, was to write a book. And I took upon that challenge or awesome goal to fulfill. And with a friend that he wanted to write a book too, we were like challenge each other and set up dates and all that. But the process was also like the renovating project, because it was messy and all that, but it came together. That's where I share my 7 steps to heal and for self-mastery. And it's called the 7 R's method, or the Step Fast Forward method, in which I include things like releasing, removing, reframing, and resolving issues in life. So it's the 7 R's method because each of those steps start with the letter R. And once you figure out how important they are in your life, it's an ongoing little process that you go through that you can implement for the rest of your life in any circumstance. So yeah, it's very powerful.
That sounds very powerful. Oh my gosh. Now, can I ask you, if somebody would like to reach out to you, they can do so. I have these links at the bottom of the screen down here, but also I left them in the comment section. And if somebody wanted to, do you have any upcoming courses or anything coming up as well? Any programs that you'd like to mention?
Absolutely. I have a self-confidence mini course I am developing right now, and I'm so excited about. Self-confidence is a core issue that we need to develop, okay? Not to just say, move over world, I'm coming here, but just to be more bold and assertive in our decisions and in what we want in life. So I'm developing that. I can give you more information once I get it all ready to go, Melinda, definitely.
Yes, and I'll share it here.
Yeah, so if you want to reach out, I have 3 assessments I also offer for free. The relationship to money assessment, and also the sales and influence assessment. If you are an entrepreneur and you're in business, there's a process that happens, and there's some things that if you're become aware of them, you can sell and influence better those you serve, like on making the decision, closing the sale, etc. So it's an assessment to help you understand where you are and areas where you can get better. Money is very important too. And that assessment that I have, it helps people understand, like, this is why I struggle with money or with abundance, or this is why I can't keep a penny in my pocket, as soon as I get money. And there's times of plenty and there's times of, being poor, because understanding how we connected with money is very powerful too. So if you're interested, contact me and I'll be happy to get on a call for that.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. If anybody has any other questions, I'll definitely tag you in that and let you know. Oh, this has been wonderful. It really has. And I've learned so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are most welcome. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. To everyone that's watching, thank you so very much for tuning in. If you're watching this on the replay, do a hashtag replay, also a fire emoji too, and let us know where you're from. I'd love to know, and I'm really nosy. So I will talk to you later. Please stay safe, and thanks again. Bye.
Bye.